With thousands of species spread across the most diverse corners of the planet, plants are truly extraordinary organisms, responsible not only for sustaining life on Earth, but also for providing many benefits to humans, such as food, medicine, and ornamentation. And far beyond the usual plants we are used to seeing every day out there, on our planet, there also exists an immense variety of different and unusual plants that are not known by most of the population. And it is with that in mind that we put together a list with some of them to present in today's video. 20 exotic plants that will surprise you. Dove orchid. And we are going to start by talking about a truly impressive and unmistakable plant, the dove orchid. That is because, besides being extremely rare, this orchid species also stands out for the singular beauty of its exotic flowers, which have an appearance that strongly resembles a white dove. This orchid grows both as an epiphyte, using other plants as support without parasitizing them, and as a terrestrial plant, attaching itself directly to organic rich soil. And it is native to the mountainous regions of Central America and northwestern South America, even being considered the national flower of Panama. The dove orchid is a sympodial growing plant that can reach up to 1 meter in height and prefers partial shade and high humidity, and it should be cultivated in specific orchid substrates. Its flowering occurs between July and October, and each floral stem can hold from 4 to 12 flowers, with concave petals and sepals, fleshy and white in color. Currently, the dove orchid is considered a plant of great value for collectors, not only because of its beauty and unique appearance, but also due to its rarity, given that, unfortunately, it is seriously threatened with extinction because of overharvesting. Rose of Jericho. Now we are going to talk about the Rose of Jericho, a fascinating plant native to desert regions in North Africa and the Middle East, where it adapts to the extreme conditions of temperature and humidity, and which can be defined as the perfect option for those people who want to have a plant at home but end up not having much time or forgetting to water it. That is because this fantastic plant has the incredible ability to survive long periods of drought and basically come back to life when it comes into contact with water. When there is no water available, the Rose of Jericho closes into a compact and dry ball, which reduces water loss through transpiration and protects its cells from dehydration. But when it finds water, it opens quickly and regains its green and lush appearance, and it can even bloom with small white flowers. Corpse flower. Native to the tropical forests of Sumatra and Borneo in Indonesia, the corpse flower is a parasitic plant without leaves, stem, or its own roots, living at the expense of a vine called tetrastigma, and it is famous for producing the largest flower in the world that can reach up to 106 centimeters in diameter and weigh up to 11 kilograms. In addition to its impressive size, the corpse flower also emits a strong and unpleasant odor, similar to that of rotting meat, which attracts its natural pollinators, such as flies and other insects. This fantastic plant was discovered at the beginning of the 19th century, and despite its peculiar appearance and the curiosity it awakens in many people, it currently faces threats of extinction due to the destruction of its natural habitat and the difficulty of reproducing in environments outside its native ecosystem, which makes the conservation of this species a challenge for biologists and environmentalists who seek ways to protect both the corpse flower and the complex tropical forests where it lives. SOCOTRA dragon tree. Among all the unusual trees in the world, few are as impressive as the SOCOTRA dragon tree, found only on the remote island of Socotra, and with an appearance that makes it look like a tree coming directly from another planet. With its thick trunk and unusually shaped crown, this extraordinary tree creates a landscape so surreal that the island is often referred to as one of the strangest and most impressive places on Earth. However, although its appearance is truly surprising and curious, the most famous detail of the SOCOTRA dragon tree is found in the red sap that its trunk releases when cut, which has been nicknamed dragon's blood, and which makes the tree in many places also popularly called the dragon's blood tree. Shampoo ginger. Few tropical plants in the world are as admirable and curious as the shampoo ginger, a tropical species of Asian origin that gained fame in several cultures and that at first sight draws attention because of its red, pine cone-shaped inflorescences. However, the most impressive detail appears when these structures are squeezed, since at that moment a viscous and aromatic liquid oozes out of them, which can be used as a natural shampoo to perfume and hydrate hair, and which ended up inspiring the plant's popular name, shampoo ginger. Highly valued by local populations in the Pacific and in tropical Asia, this formidable plant is not limited only to traditional natural cosmetic use, but it is also widely used in folk medicine, since its properties are considered soothing, moisturizing, and even anti-inflammatory, and in addition, its aromatic roots are used in the cuisine of some countries and can be enjoyed in a similar way to common ginger. Bleeding heart. Frequently associated with love and passion, the bleeding heart, as it is popularly known, is a perennial herbaceous plant native to Asia, which has become quite famous in recent years due to its striking and impressive appearance, with arching stems from which pink and white heart-shaped flowers hang. This fantastic plant blooms in spring and early summer, preferring places with partial shade and moist soil, and in addition to its aesthetic beauty, the bleeding heart is also recognized for its resistance to pests and its ability to adapt to different soil conditions as long as the proper level of moisture is maintained. However, it is important to note that despite its very beautiful appearance, the bleeding heart is a toxic plant if ingested, and it can cause skin irritations, so it should be handled with care and kept out of the reach of children and pets. Jade vine. Commonly known as jade vine, this perennial climbing plant is native to the tropical forests of the Philippines and is a highly valued species both for its ornamental beauty with striking flowers in shades of green and blue and for its ability to attract pollinators such as hummingbirds. The flowers of the jade vine have a unique shape that resembles inverted claws and are known for their pearly shine, which makes them comparable to gemstones such as jade, aquamarine, and emerald, giving it this simply fantastic and formidable look that awakens and draws the attention of many exotic plant enthusiasts. This plant is ideal for covering sturdy structures such as pergolas and trellises, since its woody and vigorous stems can reach many meters in height depending on the support in which they grow. And in addition, the jade vine provides pleasant shade throughout the year, with some pruning being done to control growth and renew foliage. Dancing plant. Imagine observing a plant and realizing that its leaves are moving without wind, as if they were performing a natural choreography. Well, as absurd as this idea may really seem, this is totally possible for gardeners who have in their garden a dancing plant, one of the most fascinating and curious plants in the botanical world, and which, as its name suggests, seems to dance in a surprising spectacle that can be observed with the naked eye. While most plants move in an almost imperceptible way, such as the slow growth toward the sun, the dancing plant has small lateral leaves that spin rapidly around their own axis, performing quick gestures that are possible thanks to special cells in its structure, which can alter internal pressure and provoke this characteristic swaying. This unusual ability attracted the interest of collectors and also of many scientists. Many believe that the movements are related to the search for light. However, there are also observations that show that the plant reacts to touch and even to music, which was precisely what earned it the nickname of dancing plant. Kiss flower. Now it is time to talk about the kiss flower, a fascinating plant that draws attention and is very well known for its peculiar appearance that resembles human lips. This exotic plant is native to the tropical forests of Central and South America, and contrary to what many people think, that part which looks like lips is not its flowers, but rather modified leaves known as bracts. In reality, the true flowers of this plant are located in the center and are cream or white in color. This unusual look of the kiss flower is a very interesting evolutionary adaptation that allows the plant to attract pollinators such as butterflies and hummingbirds, and this vibrant red color and lip-like shape are like an irresistible invitation for these animals, which, while searching for nectar, end up pollinating the flower and ensuring the reproduction of the species. Ghost plant. Few plants in the world can be as enigmatic as the ghost plant. Unlike almost all the others, this plant does not show any shade of green, considering that its coloration is completely white. And the explanation for this curious detail is that the ghost plant does not have chlorophyll, and therefore does not carry out photosynthesis. In this way, instead of producing its own food, the ghost plant adopts a different strategy and obtains energy by connecting to underground fungi, which in turn extract nutrients from the roots of nearby trees. It is like an intricate network of energy theft. The fungi obtain energy from the roots of nearby trees, and the ghost plant then gets its energy from those fungi, which ensures the survival of this rare species in dense and shaded forests where other plants probably could not, because they need to receive direct sunlight to survive. Giant water lily. Quite famous and well known thanks to its appearance and unusual characteristics, the giant water lily is an aquatic plant native to the Amazon region, remarkable for its gigantic circular leaves that can reach up to 3 meters in diameter. And it is exactly in these leaves where the great difference of this fantastic plant is found, considering that these leaves have a unique structure that allows them to support large amounts of weight, including even adult humans, and still continue floating on the water as long as that weight is well distributed. This floating capacity of the leaves of the giant water lily is the result of a structural system with enormous veins that increase its buoyancy and resistance, thus making them capable of supporting these large amounts of weight without sinking. But in addition to this, another interesting fact to mention about this surprising plant refers to its growth, which has a rather curious effect. That is because as it expands, the giant water lily pushes other aquatic plants out of the area where it is, which not only guarantees the survival of the species, but also controls the space around it, making it often the only plant visible in a large expanse of water. Darth Vader flower. Native to Central and South America, this distinctive species, popularly known as the Darth Vader flower, is a plant that arouses great curiosity and interest among many exotic plant enthusiasts and movie lovers due to its incredible resemblance to the helmet of the famous villain Darth Vader from the Star Wars saga. In addition to its intriguing appearance, the Darth Vader flower is a plant that adapts well to different environmental conditions and plays an important role in its ecosystem, contributing to biodiversity and helping to maintain the health of the tropical forests where it grows. However, just like many other plant species, it currently faces threats of extinction due to deforestation and habitat loss. Venus flytrap. Now we are going to talk about a carnivorous plant, but not just any carnivorous plant, but rather the one that is probably the most famous carnivorous plant in the world and which has an extremely striking appearance, the Venus flytrap. Native to the swamps of the southeastern United States, the Venus flytrap is a carnivorous plant that feeds on insects and arachnids that it captures through special leaves with toothed edges and sensitive hairs. In this way, these two leaves serve as a kind of trap, and when an insect lands on the inner surface of one of them, it stimulates these sensitive hairs, which makes them close quickly. Next, the plant secretes digestive enzymes that slowly dissolve its prey in order to absorb its nutrients. This process takes about 10 days, and each trap can close 4 to 5 times before being replaced by a new leaf. Similar to the dancing plant that we already showed, the Venus flytrap is one of the few plants capable of performing quick and complex movements, and it is currently widely cultivated by curious people and plant lovers who enjoy observing this curious and lethal insect catcher. Titan arum. The Titan arum is a famous and well-known plant native to the tropical forests of Sumatra in Indonesia, which stands out for producing the largest unbranched inflorescence in the world, which can reach up to 3 meters in height and 75 kilograms in weight, and for having a characteristic odor of rotting meat that serves to attract pollinators, such as beetles and flies. An interesting fact to mention about the Titan arum is that it is often referred to as the largest flower in the world, but as we have already seen, that title belongs to the corpse flower. In fact, this structure that resembles a giant flower is an inflorescence, which consists of many small flowers grouped around a central column. Since it was discovered in 1878 by an Italian botanist, the Titan arum has fascinated many scientists and the general public, becoming famous worldwide, and although it can live for about 40 years, it only blooms 2 or 3 times during its entire lifetime, which makes its flowering a rare and spectacular event that attracts visitors from all over the world to the botanical gardens where it is cultivated. Resurrection plant. We have already seen that the Rose of Jericho has the incredible ability to survive long periods of drought and basically come back to life when it comes into contact with water. And now it is time to talk about the resurrection plant, also often called the false Rose of Jericho, which is another fascinating plant endowed with an impressive special ability. Native to the desert regions of the southwestern United States and Mexico, the resurrection plant, just like the Rose of Jericho, is a plant adapted to arid environments and presents a peculiar survival feature in such a way that when environmental conditions become very dry, it curls up on itself, looking completely dry and lifeless. However, despite this dead-like appearance, a surprise happens when this fantastic plant comes into contact with water. That is because at that moment, its leaves begin to gradually uncurl, revealing a vibrant green inside, which is an incredible adaptation that allows the plant to survive in arid environments where water is a scarce and unpredictable resource. Blue cactus. When we think of cacti, it is almost impossible not to remember that famous scene with these spiny green plants in the middle of a desert. But did you know that not all the cacti in the world have that classic green coloration? And a good example of this are the blue cacti, highly appreciated by gardening lovers and collectors of exotic plants, and which can currently be found in different varieties, but that share among themselves this beautiful color. This different coloration is due to a layer of natural wax that covers the stem, helping the cactus reflect the intense sunlight and retain water in extremely dry environments. And it is a detail that not only guarantees the survival of these plants in scorching deserts, but also turns the blue cactus into one of the most beautiful and exotic in the world. String of turtles. Popularly known as string of turtles, this is a charming indoor plant, low maintenance and highly appreciated for its unique and trailing foliage. Native to the tropical forests of Central and South America, this plant is generally cultivated for the beauty and distinctive look of its small leaves, which resemble turtle shells, hence the inspiration for its popular name. The string of turtles plant has creeping stems that form a beautiful carpet when grown in hanging pots, and its leaves are a vibrant green with distinct patterns. To conclude, in addition to being easily cultivated indoors, as long as some basic conditions of watering, light, and fertilization are respected, the string of turtles plant is also relatively resistant to pests and diseases, which makes it a popular option for beginner gardeners. Baobab. Popularly known as trees of life, baobabs are a true spectacle of nature. Distributed across Africa, Madagascar, and Australia, there are currently 8 different species of baobabs in the world, each with characteristics that make them truly unique, but all sharing the same grandeur that has made them legendary, including colossal trunks and a longevity that can exceed 1,000 years. To give an idea, the trunks of these extraordinary trees are capable of reaching such large diameters that they can even serve as shelters, allowing the storage of items and the construction of small structures inside them. And in addition, they are also excellent water reservoirs, considering that this structure works as a natural reserve that accumulates thousands of liters to withstand periods of drought, which not only guarantees the survival of the tree itself, but also helps guarantee the survival of local communities that live in these arid regions. Flying duck orchid. Native to Australia, this fascinating species of terrestrial orchid, popularly known as the flying duck orchid, usually grows in open forest areas and swamps and is notable for its peculiar flower, which has a shape that resembles the head and body of a duck, complete with a beak and outstretched wings, appearing to be in full flight. This flower is usually reddish-brown with yellow or green spots and is specially designed to attract pollinating insects. The pollination process of the flying duck orchid is something very interesting and basically consists of tricking insects into landing on the flower, being attracted by its appearance and aroma. In this way, when an insect lands on the flower, it comes into contact with the plant's reproductive organs, thus facilitating pollination. This fantastic orchid can be planted in pots or in the garden, as long as its soil, light, and temperature requirements are respected. And due to its beauty and uniqueness, it is highly appreciated by collectors and enthusiasts of orchids and plants in general. However, unfortunately, it is currently at risk of extinction due to habitat loss and overcollection, and for this reason, it is protected in many areas where it occurs naturally. Squirting cucumber. And finally, we are going to talk about the squirting cucumber, simply one of the most surprising and extraordinary plants in the whole world. That is because this small Mediterranean plant hides a reproductive mechanism so unusual that it even looks like a scene from a cartoon. As it matures, the fruit accumulates internal liquid under enormous pressure, and so when someone touches it or when the tension reaches its limit, it detaches from the stem and ejects its seeds as if it were a pressurized hose, spreading those seeds over great distances. This fascinating mechanism ensures that the plant quickly colonizes new areas, but it has also made it one of the most peculiar species in the plant world, which, although it is not edible because it is toxic, it is still widely cultivated by curious people and lovers of natural oddities who enjoy watching its natural explosion. But what about you? Which plant was the most surprising and fantastic from this list? Leave it in the comments and tell us which one impressed you the most. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for watching and see you next time.